I'm Claire Teachin. I was teased every day, but now I feel more confident.
So whatever it is you'd like to do, people don't like it, make it cool.
I would say, first of all, just get out, go do something, whether it's band camp or something.
I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna keep doing it because it's what I love and what I enjoy to do.
Bullied, but not broken.
I'm Claire with Bullied But Not Broken, and this is...
Hi, it's Haylie Pomroy, author and nutritionist.
Yes, food. She's on Dr. Oz all the time, and healthy as ever. Yes, and so beautiful. And so, so I'm going to ask some questions. How did this all happen? Like, how did you get on fast metabolism diet? How did you get on Dr. Oz? How did you get the idea, like the same as ideas, me getting ideas, but how did it all start by doing all of this?
I think well, the biggest thing for me was I kind of got myself into a big health crisis.
Yes.
I had an autoimmune disorder, and I had a tonsillectomy when I was 19, and I hemorrhaged really bad. And so, which means they couldn't get me to stop bleeding. And they thought, well, that's odd. And then, but as a kid, I had really bad food allergies, and I had eczema. I would get, all over. And so I knew that, my immune system maybe wasn't the best, but then in my early 20s I got diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder, and I was actually going to go to vet school at Colorado State University, but I had to take a medical leave of absence because my health had kind of deteriorated. And so I just decided that I was going to research, how I could get my body back, how I could get healthy. I was on a ton of medications, which I don't do well with medications, and and when you're young, to start those I was on Imurin, Celsa, like all kinds of crazy stuff, and I just said, not me. This can't be the rest of my life, and so I changed my path, and I became fascinated with biochemistry and the chemistry of the body, and that there's power on your plate and food, and completely changed kind of my path. So I still have all my animals, but I didn't go to vet school. And I started to study nutrition and biochem, and opened my first practice in my early 20s, and have opened, I was just thinking the other day, I've had 12 clinics since then, some in Colorado, some in California. And then I grew up, and I'm pretty dyslexic, very dyslexic, and so books were always a big kind of nemesis to me. I was that kid that would go to the book, the book sales at your school, and I would buy all the books, and I would take them home, and I'd put them near my bed, and I thought, okay, this makes me right, and this makes me look really smart.
I have a bunch of books that I don't read at all.
I couldn't read them.
I'm like, yay!
The only book I was ever really able to read cover to cover was Tale of the Fifth Grade Nothing. It was, I don't know if you've ever read that, but it was like, I probably in 5th grade or something. And that took me like the whole school year, and I would start all over. So anyways, for years I really hid my disability significantly. And then I was asked by one of my clients, the guy that produces Juno, do you know the movie 500 Days of Summer, a bunch of different movies. He said, he said, you can't hide this. You've got to get out there. And I said, how am I ever going to write a book? I can't even read it. And I got an amazing person to help me. I audioed everything, and I put it out there, and I put it out on a Tuesday, and by Wednesday 5 of the top publishing companies were duking it out over it, and the rest was kind of history. We hit #1 New York Times bestseller. But I think for me, to kind of backtrack or tell a long story, hopefully short, it was me facing publicly my own disability.
Which I have one too. Like, I would love to be able to be smart and read, but I can't. I hate books.
The two don't go together.
No!
You can be an ear reader. I'm an avid ear reader. I read at 3 times speed of anybody else. I should show you my technology. Nobody can hear it, but I can.
Yes! Mine is like, I have eagle ears, eagle eyes, I can read, and I have a GPS in my head.
Yeah.
Because I have different things that aren't most people.
Different talents.
Yeah.
Everybody.
And they're like, oh, I can read. Oh, I can't, but I have a GPS in my head. Do you know where we're going? No. Turn left and then go right. We're right here. And they're like, oh. Even my dad is like, where are we going? And I'm like, just follow me. I'll know. And they're like, where are we headed? Oh, we gotta turn left and then it's right at the corner. And they're like, oh. And I say, I'm always right at knowing where we are. And most of the time I am.
But
like,
you know how important that is?
yes.
I mean,
like, I don't
yeah.
need my phone. I just need my head.
Right.
So, which I have that, so.
It's good.
Yeah. So, this is kind of a little connection that my mom does the fast metabolism diet. And she loves it. But I don't so much. I'm a kid. I need to eat junk food all the time. But, like, long story short, because we just talked about this. So, is there a way that I can eat it, but I won't feel like when my mom did spinach and egg whites, and I was like, why is it green? And she's like, it has egg whites and spinach. And I'm like, that just sounds disgusting, but I know it's good for me. So I don't like tomatoes. Like, I need to eat healthy. That's just me. But is there a way that you can eat healthy and have junk food at the same time?
I'm going to say this, but nobody hold me to it. Absolutely. The biggest thing is to create a foundation of health,
Yes.
right? And so if you don't like egg whites, you don't need to eat egg whites. Just eat whole organic eggs. If you don't like eggs, do the chicken sausage. You could just, if you don't have pleasure in what you're eating, it's not going to really be good for you anyway.
Yeah.
So just because someone, me, anybody else says it's healthy, if you don't enjoy the process, if you don't like the taste, then you're not going to, the cells aren't going to take it up as efficiently. But I will say, if you're an individual that's used to eating a lot of processed food, a lot of sugars, that sometimes you have to detox your palate a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, even, I'll use my daughter as an example, or my husband too. We have these one shakes that we sometimes make in the morning that has like kale, spinach, arugula, all crazy stuff in it. And we were really, digging in and working on our nutrients. And I said, I don't care. Plug your nose. We'll go to a movie for fun. Let's get these nutrients in you. Now they crave them. Mm-hmm. The more you get those nutrients in you, the more your body, it's almost like retraining your palate, retraining your body to crave those things. Mm-hmm. And so, as a kid, a growing kid, if you can kind of consider a 70-30 split, ideally, even 50-50 is going to be better than most American kids, unfortunately. You travel to other countries, and our school lunches are appalling in comparison. Mm-hmm. They have fruits and vegetables and, whole grains and things that actually feed you, instead of every time you consume something that's the word enriched or refined, as you eat it, it actually steals some of you as it's going away. It actually leaches nutrients from your body. So you got to kind of replenish that. It'd be like spending and spending and spending or never sleeping. You have to at some point put good things into your body. Yeah. So I'm not a big advocate, me, the word diet means did I eat today? I'm not worried about people not doing something. I want to make sure that you're doing enough to take care of you.
See, it's the same thing with me. Like, I don't like eating tomatoes, but, like, I need to eat tomatoes, but I never have tried tomatoes because you're like, it's really good for you, you have to. But the idea of eating tomatoes is like, ugh.
But what vegetables do you like?
Vegetables, peppers.
Ooh, that's great.
So I love mangoes.
Oh,
I
those
love
are wonderful.
mangoes.
Eat those.
I can eat mangoes all day long.
You know what I do at night? I get the organic frozen mangoes that are up in chunks.
Yes.
And I put cinnamon on them and warm them up. Oh my God, they're so good.
Yes.
Yeah, don't worry about what you don't like. Just enjoy what you
see,
like.
I did the diet with my mom a little bit ago, like 6 months ago, and all I ate was like mangoes. And she was like, well, we kind of have to follow the diet a little bit, so you're going to have to go out your comfort zone and eat besides mangoes. And I'm like, can I eat it with oatmeal? Okay. Can I eat it with spinach? Okay. But you still need to go out of your comfort zone and just eliminate mangoes a little bit.
But growing bodies, if you can think about, like Grandma says, breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
Yes.
I'm your grandma, you know, and
Yes.
think about just starting that. That's how you start your metabolism throughout the day. It's how we feed our minds.
Yes.
You know, and you've got so much going on, and you're so busy, and you've got to nurture yourself. You have to take care of that precious you, right?
Yes.
And we do that through food.
So basically, all you're saying is you got to just, did I eat today?
Did I eat today?
That's all.
Absolutely.
No matter if it's healthy or not.
And whatever your desire is, if you want to run faster, jump higher, think quicker on your feet, did I eat to actually make that a possibility? And I look at everybody's body, you know, I have a lot of individuals that are professional athletes, and they're at their peak performance physically, right? So we have to feed them. And we see, if we don't feed them well, you see it in the animal industry, right? Look at the dogs that you rescue or you adopt when they have poor food or they've been starving on the streets. Their coat looks dull. They're nervous. They're anxious. They have bad teeth. That's based on food. Well, it's the same for us. So
That's quite interesting.
we all know when we can tell an animal hasn't been taken care of, and what's the first thing we do when we bring them home?
Feed them,
feed 'em.
wash them.
Absolutely.
That's what
We'd
I
never
think.
leave. We'd never walk out of our door in the morning and not feed our dogs and cats. That'd be cruel.
Yeah,
But we
that's
do it for ourselves.
mean.
Yeah, but we do it to ourselves.
Yes.
We don't even think anything about it.
Yes.
Feed the dog.
See, yeah.
Oops, we
I
didn't
think-
feed the kids.
Yeah.
Or dad. Or mom.
See, that's what happened one night when I was going to school. My mom was like, feed the dogs. Okay, I left. Oh, I didn't eat.
Yeah.
So I didn't feed myself. I just fed the dogs. So
Yeah.
it's just like, basically feed both at
Yeah.
the same time.
But what if you gave your dog, what would you ever think, I mean, what would happen to your carpet if you fed your dog pizza and cake every day? What would happen? What would happen, I mean, we know our carpets anyways would be a big, just stinky mess. You know, if you don't, that's when we feed, and some pet foods are horrendous, you know, and some aren't, but at least they're based on nutrients, right? And we don't feed our, if we were to feed our animals the amount of sugar and the synthetic and processed foods that we feed, we'd be turned in, the SPCA would come and get us,
Yes.
take our dogs away. And yet we do it to our kids and our parents and our loved ones.
Yes. It's quite funny.
So let's not get turned in, let's eat healthy.
yeah. Which I mean,
I'm
I'm
eating
like,
at least as good as a dog.
yes. I'm at least eating some good
Yes,
food.
yes.
I'm like, SPCA, don't get me.
Yeah.
I just ate one junk food. Can I not be a bad person?
Yes, I've been bullied. And it's hard because I consider myself a pretty successful woman in business. And I could cry here right now over it. So it hurts.
Yes.
And it
Aw.
sorry.
No.
You're so
okay,
sweet.
I've done that so many
But
times.
it impacts people for the rest of their lives. So
Yeah.
what you're doing is amazing. Because like you know, back in the olden days when I was young, many moons ago,
Not that long
you know,
ago.
people had really harsh things to say about me. And having a disability, you know, there were even times where I felt like teachers or adults bullied me, you know, where they said things like, you know, you can't read, or, you know, try harder, or, but definitely for my appearance, I was bullied. It was bad in high school. I was bullied definitely for my learning disability. And again, you know, you can still remember those faces. You can remember the people. You can remember the words. But it's, I think, going on and having a passion for something and a passion for helping people like yourself that makes you go, you know, I can't be trite. I can't say, oh, I'm better for it, because obviously it still hurts.
Yes.
But I can say that I'm bigger despite it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's basically saying, oh, I'm gonna be, if I let you keep saying these words, I'm gonna be horrible. I might be dead in a couple of years because of what you said to me. Or I can be like, hey, it doesn't matter, and I can be a young, successful person going on TV, and then I'll be like, oh, you're gonna end up dying in a hole, and I'll be this big, successful person saying, oh, this person was mean to me, and I'm now trying to help them out.
Yes.
It's
And that's
very-
one thing is people, a lot of people say, you know, it's just words. And I said this the other day. Someone was saying, because, you know, we still get bullied on our own Facebook page. It's amazing. People say, and personal, like mean, about what I wear or what I look like, or the fact that I didn't brush my hair today, or whatever, you know, and it's adults, you know,
Yes.
and it's
yes.
shocking.
I see it
Yeah,
on
yeah, and I go,
websites.
yeah, and it's amazing. I don't know if it's the cyber piece of being able to hide behind, you know, behind a screen. You know, it's puzzling. But I try to create my community. I try to create a really safe space, and so we have zero tolerance. And I call people to task right away. But you know, someone said to me the other day, something came up, and I was just hurt my heart. You know, I'm very sensitive too.
Yes.
And so someone said, "Oh, it's just words," and I said, "Just words? Try walking into a school campus and say I've got a gun and see how people react. Those are just words." It's
Yes.
meaningful. It's
Yes.
hurtful, and when it triggers something with people and with kids, you know, obviously it's the words can be life-threatening.
Yes. Which basically, someone said, my principal was like, "Oh, it's just words."
Yeah.
Then I'm basically saying, you haven't been bullied. You've never said a mean word to someone and see them cry. You've never
But we can-
said
yeah.
anything. But it's not just words. We have feelings.
Yeah.
Just because you say something mean doesn't mean it hurts just us. Maybe it hurts you and you're like, "Oh, I should not have said that."
Yeah.
Say sorry. Say I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
I said that once and I was like, "Oops, sorry."
Yeah.
And so they're like, "Okay, it hurt," but then they apologize for what they said. So it's okay.
forgiving.
Yeah.
And we can all be that way. Absolutely.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a problem.
Yes. And it's because of what we have. We have drugs now. We have technology that goes very bad, and we have all this new technology and stuff that you guys never had.
I know.
That makes it much worse.
We used to have to send nasty grams and smoke signals when I was a kid. Just kidding. Back in the olden wagon wheel days.
Yes, I think my
couldn't
dad
sit,
knows
sit
it.
behind. Yeah.
Do you know what she's talking about?
Yes, we had to send
Yes.
smoke signals and Morse
Yeah.
code.
Yes, I think I know what you're talking about from the movies.
It took a lot more effort, and you
Yes.
had to look at somebody in the face and say mean things. You
Yes.
couldn't hide behind a camera. But it's prevalent, and it takes people to stand up and speak up, and
Yes.
you know, it's not necessarily become tougher, but become kinder.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely, yeah.
Yeah, it's gotten worse. If your kids were being bullied,
Yeah.
what would you say or let them do if they were being bullied?
Well, my kids have been bullied. I think it's prevalent in the school system, and I'll share something that recently happened. One of our kids, I won't totally dime her out. One of our kids was being bullied and had made a choice that she didn't like a boy that liked her.
Yes.
And when he found out that had happened, he verbally and physically bullied her. And I was, you know, right down at that school very quickly. I'm very involved in the schools. But one of the biggest, most important thing was my daughter didn't want us to say anything because of the backlash.
Yes.
Because when you stand up for yourself, a lot of times that can, and you put a spotlight on it, that puts a spotlight on you, and it really puts you as more of a target.
Mhm, yes.
And we talked a lot about that's unfortunate, that's the way the world is, but it doesn't mean that you silence your voice. And so we sat down and negotiated a way that was the most comfortable for her to handle it. And the school actually addressed it really well. I don't know that I gave them much of a choice, if you know what I mean.
Yes, yes.
But then she was asked if the young man could come and apologize to her. And I said, I want to talk to you about that before. And I said, the one words that I hope don't come out of your mouth, she's a child of choice, she can make her own decision, but I hope that you don't say it's okay. Because I think as girls, we're taught a lot when someone apologizes to say, that's okay, I know you didn't mean it. Or if a person makes us feel unsafe, for us to say, well, that's okay, well, they didn't mean it. But I said, you don't have to tell them it's okay because it's not, and that's not you being truthful. You can say, I appreciate your apology. You can say, I hope you don't do it again. But I just don't want to hear out of your mouth that that's okay.
Yeah.
Because we don't believe it's okay. And so she went in and he apologized, and I couldn't wait till she got home, and I said, and what did you say? She said, I said, I appreciate your apology. I'm hoping that never happens with anybody else again. And I said, good job. So I think as young women, and I know that a lot of, I can only speak for myself, being a young woman. Don't call me on that. No, I'm just kidding. But I can only speak for myself, and that's that, it's hard, and you with the wrestling and the MMA fighting, and you spoke to this a little bit, that people
yeah.
say, gosh, that's violent, and we're supposed to be a certain way.
Yes.
And we're supposed to be maybe more kind or more forgiving or more gentle or softer,
Yes.
right? We're conditioned that way at a very young age. But that also puts us in a situation where we're just the prime target to be a victim.
Yes.
And I think raising daughters and young men, my responsibility to my young men is to be kind and respectful always, or they're going to have the wrath like they've never seen from their mother, that nobody else has to get to them faster than I can. If they're not kind, they'll hear it from me.
Yes.
And,
yes.
And then for my daughters to feel always honest about their feelings, to feel that they can stand up for themselves, and if they don't ever feel safe standing up for themselves, that we will be tireless in finding them someone bigger, better, stronger, scarier, police to stand beside them so they feel safe.
Yes.
So that's the
Yeah.
deal in our house.
That's kind of ours too.
It's cool.
Kind of that. My dad has this memo when I was so in jiu-jitsu and I was so being bullied about doing a boys sport that's mainly for boys. And my dad was like, well, if they push you, you can push them back, but don't actually punch them back. Just, I have this one incident that I was punched in the face, like so punched in the face, and I fell back to the wall. And the guy was like, come on, hit me back. And I was like, no. And so I left, told the teacher, and they're like, well, you get an ISS, and that guy gets a clean slate. And I'm like, for what? I didn't hit him at all. I didn't even touch him. For the situation that you caused. And I'm like, he punched me, and it's on camera.
Yeah.
And they're like, and I'm like, it was a couple years ago. It was back in 5th grade, and I'm in 8th grade now. And the guy is totally, we forgave each other. And I'm like, okay, it's okay now. I think it's a funny situation, but then back, okay, it wasn't okay to hit a girl, and it never is.
But you said something earlier. You said, life is hard. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody's forgiving. You just have to have an environment where you can advocate for yourself, feel safe about advocating for yourself, and hopefully be loving, kind, and forgiving.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
if you
what I-
kind of
yeah.
check those lists off, then you just walk on with your head high and your shoulders back, and you're okay.
Yeah.
I'm Haylie Pomroy, and I support Bullied Not Broken, an E3 scholarship fund. And I implore you, get out today and support this girl. She's lighting the world on fire. She's saving lives. Thank God she saved her own. She's helping other children everywhere, and she's an inspiration to me. Support her. Do what you need to do. Do the right thing. You're amazing.
Thank you.